Okay, so Remo drop a balance patch for us. And 50% of it is going to be a next Blizzard patch. So let's see what's happened. Revert level 2 water elemental nerf. I don't really care. This is just one damage change that will do absolutely nothing. Flame strike damage buff can be insane with this channel time. Flame strike kinda needed because it can be heavily punished by any interrupt. So with this change for the Blood Mage, I agree. For Mana Siphon, I don't think that's the problem. The problem is that it got nerfed by nerfing the range of this ability, and this is what kills it. So if you want to bring back Blood Mage, you need to bring the old range for the Mana Siphon. Uh, with these changes, I feel like this will be back to the point where it was. Like you need to come closer to your opponent, but it will be probably the same amount of mana that you're going to take away from the target before the range. So I would say range should be buffed overall. This is like kinda what this ability need, and players need to learn how to counter it properly with interrupts. Divine Shield, I don't really like this idea. I don't feel it's needed. This is not the purpose for the Divine Shield, and it will probably don't make the pro players go for it even in the late game. So I would say this change will do absolutely nothing. Next. Sundering Blades, default on tier 2 by default, and Animal War Training on tier 2. Small change, this will be probably the best buff for the Dragon Hawks, but and you know, late game buffs versus undead that are technically neat, but it will be small buffs overall. Polymorph, I don't really like this idea, and I also don't like this healing reduction ideas from Remo, uh, because it will provoke hero focus, and I don't like hero focus. So I don't know, like I'm seeing this new polymorph, and I still don't think that it's a good idea to go for the tier 3 just to go for the polymorph. Especially now, if you cannot heavily punish your opponent for not having Dispelled versus Sorks, because that's the purpose of the polymorph. You punish your opponent for not having a Dispel. With these changes, like what is actually the idea? Like you pay 50 mana for a slow, and your opponent cannot cast spell, cannot attack. But if you cast slow on them, they cannot run away and the attack speed is slower. So it just seems like a bigger slow for the same amount of mana. I don't think this is a good design for the tier 3 spell. Militia duration, this is supposed to help human base defend. It will do absolutely nothing in human base defense because you are already next to the town hall. So this extra 5 seconds is not going to help at all. What it will help with is tower rush, and every night elf is going to hate this tier 3 tower rush when you grab 3 militia and run across the map. So I think that's not a good idea to buff human main base defense. Call to arms range, that's the better idea. So the peasants will no longer block each other next to the town hall. So I guess that's a correct way to go. I would still like the idea that human town hall will give like buff to the workers that make them more resistance against the spells. Right? You can give them like spell damage reduction, HP, armor. It can be done by the aura that will be put on the town hall. This aura might be buffed by, for example, mercenary upgrades that are currently not used at all in 1v1 scenario. So that I would go for this idea to help human main defense. Collision size, I don't think it's going to do much other than just nerfing breakers. Like, we still go for the Breaker Mirror. Why? Because the Breaker Mirror in the late game does now no longer focus fire themselves. Right? Like, they just stand and auto attack, because if they try to focus fire, they are already clumsy and they will just block each other. That's why you never want to focus fire in the late game Breaker Mirror. So I don't like this idea. This is just going to make them harder to micro. Improve fire eye and heal range. Don't mind. This buff will not change that much, but it will be quality of life improvement. So okay, it can be done. Now, pretty much any expo attempts get buffed by getting, resource gets lower. This is significant buff because it's not only this 50 gold and 10 lumber, it's also the gold and lumber that will be less spent in power build. So if human tier 1 expo need a buff, this will be the way. Though I still like the idea that we have some tier 1 expansion plays and no tier 1 expansion plays, right? G1 base style. So I would like to have a mix and not only see that every race is going for the expo every single time in every single game, regardless of whatever happened to the game. Buff to the Orb of Slow, that is completely garbage. I still think it's completely garbage. Can we remove this Orb of Slow and give us Orb of Frost? Now that will be a orb that I would like to pick. This orb is trash. It will be trash. This extra 30 damage, like... Okay, like 30 damage per shot, like, is that big of a deal in the late game? I don't think so. So, I say Orb of Slow is Orb of Trash. Move on. Heroes of the Orc. Blade Master, Bladestorm mana from 200 to 100. This spell, okay, it costs a lot of mana, but it's kinda broken versus building. Can we make it that this ability no longer deals damage to the building? Like, at one point, if you have level 6 Bladestorm, level 6 Blade Master with Bladestorm, you don't need to fight anymore. You can just walk into your main base, get mana, walk into the enemy main base, blow up enemy workers and damage the main, or like for example versus undead, you can one-shot 100 gold mine, and then you can wait and repeat this over and over and over again. So if we wanna make it more accessible, please remove the idea of this ability dealing damage to the base. Then we have Critical Strike, Damage Cap. That's still bad design for me. Like, okay, you have 220 damage on level 2. That still mean that you can, in the 2 auto attacks from Blade Master, drop coil to your to the enemy face. You can drop 2 coils into the enemy face. That it's not reduced by the spell armor from the heroes, so they can still get this 200 damage. I think it's a bad idea. I would say Critical Strike should be changed into dealing constant damage, no longer multiply damage of the Blade Master, but it's really more common, right? So you get more crits, but less, but a weaker one. It will be more predictable for the player to play against. Serpent Ward on level 1 deal more damage. It's just help for the creeping. I don't think it's going to change anything. Chain Lightning damage. Yes, Farser needs some buff. Is it the proper buff to buff his late game damage from the Chain Lightning and Feral Spirit mana? I don't know. Maybe. On the other hand, he's an early game powerhouse, so why he's supposed to be strong in the late game? for the Farsight, I'm not sure that's a good idea. Level 2 Farsight is going to be better version of the Dark Ritual from the Lich. Yes, you don't have Nova on the Farseer, but you have a TC that has Stomp. So I'm not sure if the TC that keeps stomping for the entire fight is really a good idea, especially if we consider that the Farseer does not pay mana to give mana to the TC, and it has 30-second cooldown. So every 30 seconds, you give 120 mana to the cow. I think that might break a game, but who knows. Armor and strength, I don't really care about these changes. Units. Buff to the catapults, burning oil, okay, reasonable. Buff to the Tauren, pulverize upgrade to no longer cost that much lumber, reasonable. Lightning shield mana cost, okay, but why? Shaman don't have a problem with mana, why we buff the lightning shield? I don't know, that's why I disagree with it. Changes to the witch doctors. Status trap, I just wanna point out one thing. This thing stun like a level 2 TC Stomp. You cannot make it a valuable option without this being broken. If status trap works, it's too good. If it doesn't work, it's terrible. That's why I would say that we should rather rework this ability so it no longer stun and do something else, like for example reduce movement speed and attack speed, and then we can make it more valuable and easier to use. Healing words on tier 2, okay, but need to be nerfed, so it's no longer 2% of max HP but 1%, something like that. Like 60% for 200 mana for everything looks broken. Mana totem looks like trash. No joke. That's 25 mana for the entire army, and compare this ability to the item that Remo wants to give, which is a mana scroll that give way more instantly. So I don't like this idea. I don't think that Witch Doctor is going to be playable after these changes. Now, again, buff to the expo of the orc, but Remo, this is not a buff for the tier 1 orc expansion. This is like, to make an expo valuable, you need more than just a build time and resource. Human has power build. Undead have powerful Illyri game Ice Tower, Nerub Tower, that can slow down anything and protect the Hunted Gold Mine. Night Elf can make an expo without even creeping the camp, right? And then use the expo to creep the camp and secure it. Orcs doesn't have those tools. If the Orcs doesn't have a tools to support tier 1 expansion, there will be no tier 1 expo for the Orc. This, however, is a heavily big buff to the tier 2 expansion, especially versus human, and humans struggle against the Orc, so this change is going to buff Orc in the matchup where they are favorite. So I heavily disagree with this change. It is terrible idea. Spikes buff, whatever. Damage for the barrow, I disagree. I don't see a reason to give more damage to the barrows. Lightning orb, I don't feel like it needs a buff. It's already a strong orb. Why do we supposed to cost 300? Like, why do we make every orb cost 300 gold? I don't know why. Trolley region, minor buff. I know the idea that to make it work that the Shadow Hunter and Headhunters early game, but I still feel like MK Footman is going to own it, DK Ghouls is going to own it, Demon Hunter is going to own it, Keeper is going to own it, so sorry, but it's not gonna happen. Undead. Carrion Beetles, okay, I agree. Crippler has problem with mana, this is a small buff. Okay. Locust Swarm cooldown, don't mind, this is a bad ultimate, it can get buffed. Now, Impale cannot target rooted units. You want to change it. Do you know what happens in the late game versus Criplord when you are playing as human? You go for the Gryphons. Why? Because the Gryphons cannot get impaled. Why you don't wanna have units that can get impaled? Because if you are playing versus Criplord DK Lich, you first get impaled, then you get Nova, and when the slow from Nova run out, you get impaled again, and then Nova again, and impaled, and Nova, and so on, and so on. Now you wanna make that Gryphons can get impaled? Like, it sounds like completely broken stuff versus human in the late game. Like, human will have no answer to the Crippler in this moment. So I heavily disagree on this one. Cap for the Dark Ritual. Okay, on the first level it doesn't matter because you have just ghouls and skeletons, so you'll never reach 150. On 200, you still eat ghouls and skeletons only on the level 2 Dark Ritual. And level 2 Dark Ritual, I believe it gives you like 200 mana around from a full HP ghoul. So it still doesn't nerf Lich in the place where he is too strong. We will still see 1000 damage Lich in every game, just spamming Novas left and right. This change, this nerf, will not be touched by the Undead. Dreadlord changes. Level 3 damage, I don't think that mattered that much. The real problem is the level 2 damage that can two-shot workers, like human workers, probably because and almost kill the Wisp, right? They left like 5 HP, I believe. It's 140 HP, I believe the Wisp is, I don't know. But he's too good at laming at level 2, not at level 5. So this is the... if you wanna make Dreadlord not so cancerous at killing workers, it should be here, not here. Sleep, I still think Sleep is broken and I hate the idea of buffing it. Sleep invulnerability is not dispellable, which means that even if you instantly dispel the sleep after it gets hit on your hero, you still need to wait 2 seconds so he can wake up. You wanna make it 3 seconds. I already have a situation where my paladin tried to drop heal Holy Light on the Blood Mage. It gets slapped by the Dreadlord. I wake him up with my Rifleman. I try to drop Holy Light on the Blood Mage, and I get sleep again in the middle of animation. My Blood Mage died. So no, I hate this change. It's cancerous. Mass sleep on a hero is really cancerous idea. I don't like buffing it. Sleep can target allies. Weird. Really weird. Infernal Elf makes sense. Infernal is one of the broken... one of the most broken ultimates in the game. I agree on this one. Vampiric Touch, I am not sure people would appeal to it, especially the FFA player that used Dreadlord a lot with Vampiric Aura to counter Hippos, because Hippos have Thorns Aura and you are facing them with Gargoyles. So this is really bad for the FFA community. I don't think it's gonna make Dreadlord playable in 1v1. What I think Dreadlord could make Dreadlord playable in 1v1 is the rework him so he will be an agility hero. If he's an agility hero, he do more damage with right clicks, less with spells. He will need some help from the decay, so he will no longer be possible to play as a solo hero. So he will not rush to level 6 for this powerful internal so easily. So yeah, and he will be more beneficial from vampiring aura. So yeah, I would say make him an agility hero and adjust the numbers is a better solution. Now, most oppressive undead gameplay, ghouls and destros. Remo, you said -1 damage on the destroyer, -1 damage on a 5 supply unit. That you have 3 or 4. Really? Does this change nothing, especially when you consider that main damage is Orb of Annihilation? This is the damage of the Spirit Walker. Like, this 5 supply destroyer have almost the same damage as 3 supply Spirit Walker. This is not going to change it. This is still going to be oppressive. Ghoul change? -10% attack speed, really? Like, this is not the problem. The problem is that movement speed of the ghoul is so high that together with Nova and Impale, they get on top of the units super fast and then they kill them. And 10% attack speed is not going to change it. This is still going to be a super oppressive undead power spike that will still keep going to destroy other races. Same with the Lich. Lich, Destro, Ghouls, untouched. Seriously, there's no nerf to this. No real nerf to this strategy. Cripple, healing reduction. Again, I don't like healing reduction. It invites hero focus. Though in this scenario will do absolutely nothing, I believe, so I am against it. Improve II and Destroyer Spirit Touch, exclude from Spirit Touch. Okay, I'm okay with that. Quality of life. Now, does the Undead Expo need a buff? If yes, then this is the correct way, I believe. If not, why? And here again, Orb of Annihilation 300 gold. Who asked to buff Orb of Annihilation? Sorry, Orb of Corruption. Who wants to buff it? Seriously, this is one of the best orb. Why do we buff it? I disagree on this one. Night Elves. Keeper trends base damage and base intelligence. Not sure this is the correct way. Keeper has a problem of being too counterable by Dispel. That's why I believe that on level 2 and level 3 Entangle should, instead of increasing the duration, it should apply a poison. So even if it's Dispel, so now he will always do some damage with his mana, even if it's the target get Dispel. And of course this is a drawback, because if your opponent doesn't have Dispel, you will reduce duration of the crown control on the unit that gets entangled, because it will no longer get multiplied on level 2 and level 3. That's why I think this will be a more healthy approach to the Keeper. Remove mana burn, yes please, but this thing come with a price. Currently mana burn is used mainly to outside of make enemy hero useless, it's to make Demon Hunter life easier. Why? Because he keep getting Coil Nova. If you remove mana burn, how do you keep Demon Hunter alive? You presented, Remo presented, the AoE healing from the owl. It's not going to save Demon Hunter, nor those searing arrows. So, if you remove mana burn, Demon Hunter would need a defensive ability, or we will need to give a Night Elf a single target healing. Like the strong single target healing. Remo also said that Night Elf needs an AoE healing. So maybe we should combine it. I would say that instead of buffing Searing Arrow to Oblivion, why? Oh my god. We should remove Searing Arrow and replace it with an healing ability that I would say should work like a Nova. So you have a small heal on a target plus a Nova on this target and around it. This would make Potom really strong healer with strong single target heal, and AoE heal. That will also close the problem of if there is no mana burn, my Demon Hunter die to Coil Nova, because now my Demon Hunter no longer dies to Coil Nova because I can heal him. And Owl, I get this AoE healing, but then you lose the ability to scout, which is also a nice thing to have, especially in the FFA. So maybe we should think of a different approach to the owl. In case of Warden, Shadow Strike Dot, it is kinda oppressive if you are playing squishy hero, like trading HP with a Warden is a pain in the ass. But I have no clue how to approach Shadow Strike right now. Changes to Fine of Nights, I would say, are fine. Especially the level 3 one, so it's no longer press the Fan of Knife, one auto attack kill a worker, one auto attack kill a worker. So this is the good idea. Remove invulnerability. Yes, this is a good idea. The problem with the Warden right now is the fact that Panda is missing. So we need to revert the Panda AoE change that was presented previously in order to make it work. Now, Fairy Fire doesn't need a buff. The reason why Night Elf does not go for the talents is because we have Bear Dryads and Demon Hunter. Yeah, that's it. That you don't need to buff them. Like, it's stronger than Orb of than the Undead Orb. So healing reduction and Undead Orb? Really? Even more focus fire? That's not what we want, I believe. So yeah, I disagree with those changes. Dryad change, really good idea. It's stupid that 2 upgrades are needed for the Night Elf and nothing else. Gold cost Hippos, I mean, not sure if needed, but if yes, then okay. Vorpal Blaze bonus damage, I think this is already too big. I think glaives are good against casters, especially against the human. I think Night Elf just refuse to use them. Not in the mass, but like, you have Bear Dryads, and then you add 3 glaive throwers, and you one-shot the human casters from behind. Save from Blizzard, save from Clap. You can put Roar on them, and Breakers will not steal it because they are too far. So I would say they have potential to be used. Night Elf just don't use them because they want more Bears and Dryads. Buff to Huntress, okay, those are reasonable buffs. Nerf to Mountain Giants, okay, I don't really mind. Buildings, not sure why the gold costs, but okay. No Wand of Negation, please. We don't need more Wand of Negation. It's kinda like Mana Burn, just show you buy this item to kill certain heroes or their spells. In this case, summons or debuff like entangles. So I don't think we need more of it, especially if you can just grab and make one wisp coming with you to dispel something. Resource cost, again, more tier 1 expo buff. I'm not sure why we need so many tier 1 expo buff, but okay, if it has to be. Nature's Blessings, okay, I'm okay. This is kinda big cost, so make it lower makes sense. Why do we buff Orb of Venom? The orb that it's stackable, that it's probably the best orb in the game. Why do we buff it? Why do we not nerf it so it's no longer stacks? Like, I heavily disagree with this change. Archer bonus damage. The problem with the Archer and this build is that if you go for it, you probably just mass archers, and it's boring, and it's bad for the game. So I'm not sure if I agree on this one. Probably not. This doesn't matter. Neutral heroes. I will start with Dark Ranger. It's simple. You don't need to buff the DPS of the life drain. You need to bring old range. And that's what you should do. Bring the old range so it be finally good at the start of the game. Because guess what? Later in the game, life drain sucks. And it's only good on level 1, or I would say it was good on level 1 until it was completely destroyed by the stupid nerf that reduce range. Bring range, we will have Dark Ranger back. Acid Bomb, -7 armor? Really? That's quite a lot. Maybe we should go for 4.56 first, and then see what happened? Chemical range buff, okay, I agree on this one, this spell sucks. More armor for the Beastmaster, probably okay. And now you wanna make Quillbeast a late game idea for a spell, and then a Hawk late game idea of a spell. That's going to work like a, if I understand correctly, Carrion Swarm in the straight line, but also stun. That sounds pretty broken overall. So I would say you either make Quillbeast or Hawk, not both. Quillbeast seems more reasonable. For the Hawks, I would say you might just give it a Windwalk ability that will last like 15 seconds or something for the scout or for the later on for the fight. I would say this would be better idea to buff Hawk than completely reworking it. Soulburn does not need buff. I disagree on this one. This is already a good spell. Lava Spawn mana cost is reasonable. 150 is a lot. 140 can be good. Pocket Factory is already a good in harassing workers, so I don't think I like the idea of buffing its HP. Engineering Upgrade is bad. It can get buff. Now, attack range for the Pitlord. This is not a problem. The problem of the Pitlord is that he is too weak in the early game and too good in the late game. So I would say we should find the way to buff his early game while nerfing him in the late game. I disagree on this change. Mana cost for his spell is okay, I would say. Mana shield buff. This is pretty much level 4 ability for the Naga, so she has 1.5 extra mana regen. Okay, I would say, though I'm not sure if it's needed actually. Movement speed for the panda, I disagree, he don't need more movement speed. Restore all breath of fire, yes please. Extra damage, it will not cut it. This spell sucks right now. Even if you buff its damage, it still sucks. Range is needed. Drunken Haze, mana cost, duration, and healing reduction. Okay, mana cost makes sense. Duration makes sense. I agree on this one. Healing reduction on a spell that's it's supposed to be countered by the heal scroll? Really? That's the worst healing reduction put in this patch notes. No joke. Maybe next to the Fairy Fire. No, please don't do it. Tower kill, whatever. Stock delay on the Shadow Priest. I agree on this one. Clarity, I don't think it needs a buff, so I disagree on this one. Now, in the shop, no more Periap or Vitality, Scroll of Protection, and Invis Potion. Okay, I like the idea of having rotation for the items, right? We have some items, then we rotate out of them, and then we put the other. Okay, it can be nice. But Scroll of Mana can be really good, can be broken, require testing. Orb of Fire, that's more hero focus, if we consider that this is still healing reduction effect. So I heavily dislike this one. Greater Clarity Potion, available at the start of the game. Remo, do you know why Clarity Potions are no longer a thing for the undeads? They were available at the start of the Frozen Throne, as far as I remember, and the reason why they were removed is because all of the enemy workers were completely wiped out. And now you wanna give a big clarity potion for him? For that lich that keep going for the workers and nova them? This is a really, really bad idea. Please don't. Mana capacity for the for the mana item, I disagree. This item is in good spot. Periap getting buff, okay. It's bad item, let's buff it. Big mana potion buff, no needed. Big mana potion is already good. HP potion, I would say this should be bigger nerf. 440 HP, that still bring level 2 Demon Hunter that's in the middle of human army, in the human main base, from 1 to full HP. So I would say this is not enough nerf. Damage per second for the cloak, okay, I agree on this one. And the last page, new items to drop table. Longbow, for some reason I hate the idea of having the items that do absolutely nothing for my hero. If I get close on the paladin in the early game, I can still use them. If I get armor upgrade, ring of protection for my archmage, there is that's still something, so the demon hunter that is going to right click him will do less damage. So those items are not completely useless, even though they are not fitting my hero. Those items are completely useless. Like, if I get longbow on my paladin, I get nothing. Let's say. Turn sight, I don't think it's even possible to implement it. More vision, it feels weird, and it feels like more creepjacks. So I don't overall like those items that you presented. New items level 2, I'm okay with them. They does not seem broken. Tome of experience require testing. I have no clue how big impact this could have. Great replenishing potion looks weak compared to the other items, but okay, we can put it in there. Those four items, overall I agree. The mini orb of corruption can scale quite well into the late game, and think it's still better than orb of slow for the human actually, which is weird. New items from the drop table level 3 consumable. This scroll, I agree on this one. It seems kinda similar to Scroll of the Beast, so we can put it there. Wand of Invisibility, I think it's too weak overall to put it there. Maybe 3 charges. Mainly to use, probably to save units. But yeah, like... Okay, that's pretty much it for me. Thanks, see ya.